Catherine and Andrew, I've seen you before. Nice to see you again. And Kelly, I'm sure I've seen you before, but I'd just like to sort of say hi. It's a sort of strange way of going about this. Normally it'd be much more hands-on and we'd all have a communal brew without it being virtual. Yeah, so maybe we should just get started, get cracking. I hope you've all got your envelopes sort of opened and all the rest of it. So what I thought I'd just show you first of all, I've just had a go at making things like this, and you can get quite a nice effect with blending acrylics on a soft tin surface. I know you can't quite tell that much now, but there's something really nice about putting paint on metal. It gives it this glow. It's like putting paint on glass. There's something different to paper about it. You can't quite tell with this, but this is just a fern underneath some tinfoil, basically, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Oh, and please just pipe up if you want to say anything. Just interrupt me because I'll go on otherwise. So what we could do is we could do it together. I don't know if I know that some people have collected some ferns and bits and bobs. If not, there's probably one in your pack if I put one in. So what you could do is get a piece of card, which is in your envelope, and I just collected some leaves. Basically, first what you want to do is get your glue stick out and get your paper or card, whatever colour it is. Take your top off, your glue stick that is, and go around the card. You might as well get stuck in with a bit of gluing, eh? So go around your card carefully, get that all glued in. Because it only has to be tacky, it doesn't have to be, super glued, it's just to keep it in place. So get that done. I collected some yesterday, but they've gone a bit limp today. But you could, I suppose, spread them out a bit. So the idea, once you've put some glue on the surface, is to think about what you want to do with this. I mean, I'm sure you've looked at the leaves that you've collected and thought, how will it work on a piece of paper this big? You could have some bits cut off at the edge. You could have, what's this one? I'll show you this one. Like this. This one I made with some slightly stranger paper, but you can see the effect of the light on it. This is just with acrylics. That's a disc of cardboard underneath it. This isn't as good because it's slightly cheaper. That's me, I'm a cheapskate. But with this stuff, you can see the difference in sort of textures of the light. This was made with tinfoil that you scrunch a bit and bring back out, and that way you get all the little facets, you get the glints that look nicer. So if you've glued your paper, let's see all your leaves, I suppose, and arrange them on the paper so that it looks kind of interesting. That one's gone a little bit floppy, but obviously you could, they don't have to be leaves, they can be whatever you want them to be. You could perhaps cut sections out and do other things with them, change them. Out of the other piece of card that I've got in your envelope, you could just create a little border, which could just be like a strip all the way around the outside. So you know, if you wanted, for example, a border around here, just put a piece of card underneath. But what we're going to do now is we're going to, with our glued bit of card, say we've put a load of glue over that, which you've just done, get your ferns or your pieces and arrange them into a nice style, just to start off. And then once you've learnt this process, you can just take it wherever you want. You can decorate more or less anything with it. I know someone was talking before about toilet rolls and things like that. This, very bendy. You can bend it to make, you know, nice shapes like that. So you could make holders for things. Just fold it around. So it's got quite a lot of give in it. Because I think that's because the tin foil is crunched, so it's not really taut. So when you bend it, it's got that give to it. So you could make something like that. Very cheap, very nice for Christmas, yeah. You can also use this stuff to bind books. I mean, cover books, for example. If you've got a nice little book somewhere, cover it with something like this for somebody's Christmas present. Even
I like that idea.
Yeah, book binded thing with, you know, a nice piece of ribbon at the side of it or something, and a little dedication inside. Turn something from 50p into something that means something to somebody. You can do all sorts with it. Yeah. Depending on the thickness of the card that you choose, you can bend it in all sorts of different directions. Obviously, you could cut it and make a box out of it as well. You can also decorate boxes using the same technique by just crimping it round things, which I think Jenny was talking about. Was it Jenny? Kelly was talking about a bit before. So there's me wittering on about flowers and things like that. Have you put some flowers on your paper? Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. It is really nice if you do it, I don't know if you can tell, but this is the opposite way round. So it's like the front side flat down so you can see all the stems. The reason I did that, because when I did it the other way round, you couldn't see the stems quite as clearly. But don't worry if you've not done that for now. You could just maybe peel it back off or not. Anyway, put it down back front, as it were. And same with the fern, so the back to the front. Yeah? Right.
I was thinking maybe you could make a lampshade.
Make a lampshade, and if it's tin foil, it'll be fireproof, won't it?
Well, the thing is, with the modern LED bulbs now, nothing ever gets really that hot.
Oh, no. If you were, yeah, and the glue would be fine. You could make all sorts of things out of it. If you had a circular disc shape and you cut a little piece out of it, you could have, that kind of a lampshade, couldn't you? Or you could
I'm thinking more of it, circular.
Oh, just,
my parents bought something from the Far East that had all kinds of twigs and leaves and rice paper, and it just didn't conform to UK regs, and they threw it away, which was an absolute shame, really.
Yeah. Well, if you make it yourself, you don't have to go and get permission, do you? If you're not selling it, you probably just want to make sure that both sides align at the back rather than go like that. And of course, you can put it in all sorts of different positions. But yeah, it would make if you had an uplighter that was about 4 foot high on the floor, wouldn't it be great? Just like that, going from green to blue or something. I mean, you're only restricted really, and you're not really restricted by the width of your foil. And this is only a thin piece. You can get them that big, can't you? I think they're about £3 or something. So it's for 15 metres. So yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've been using different coloured tissue paper to filter light.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long that would last over the years. Yeah, but I've been
It tends
using
to
it
get a
like
bit dusty after a bit. Tracing paper has a really nice effect with ink.
I've used that before.
Thick tracing paper, not the thin stuff. Yeah,
I've actually used that on loft lights to kind of filter the light through.
nice. Yeah, that'd work. And you can get all sorts of acrylic sheets, can't you? But then you're getting a bit expensive. Get sort of translucent sheet.
It depends on the scale you're working to, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. So, has everyone got something on a piece of card? You don't have to do it now. You can just watch and.
I've got plenty of leaves, but like I said earlier, my work surface is engaged, so I can't do anything
Leave it.
here and now. But I'm
Just
kind
watch
of absorbing everything that you're saying.
It's going round, isn't it? You're getting
Yeah,
ideas.
it is.
But for the rest of you, if you've got this far, that's brilliant. Let's go through the process, and then the next time you do it, it'll have legs in a different direction. So the most fun bit for me is scrunching up this this stuff. So get it in front of you, give it a little drum, like so. Oh, one tip. I got a bit eager and crunched it up into a big ball, and then I couldn't undo it again. Don't do that. So once you've done that, you sort of make it go flat like that. So you just, one thing you've got to be careful of is it ripping, I suppose. So just be pretty gentle and slow with it. About there. So.
Brings back memories of Quality Street wrappers on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah. Well, collect them. One more excuse to buy sweets. I do not need.
I had a drawer full of them. Didn't know what to do with them.
I think they are a bit flammable, but you know, when you were talking about lights, that sort of stuff, I don't know.
As long as it's not a naked flame, I think these days we're okay.
Let's go for that. Right, tinfoil has got shiny side, non-shiny side. You want the shiny side, so get some glue all over the non-shiny side. Now this is where a little bit of gentleness comes in handy. So, it's not squeezing up. Where are you? There we go. Get your jumbo glue stick and just gently, really gently, like you can take about 10 minutes over this. And I probably will do. It tends to undo some of the little crunchinesses you've got. Just scrunch them back up a little bit again when you come to put it on the card. With the card, so keep doing that while I'm chatting maybe, so you get all of it covered in glue. Lovely glue. You don't have to use this type of glue. If you've got a load of PVA, which I'm sure Kelly has at least, then, you know, use that. It's cheaper. Make sure it's not too wet or too blobby, because the blobs will stop you getting those nice fine lines. And if it's too wet, it'll go all floppy, won't it? It'll take ages to dry. So yeah. So let's keep going on this. If I do one while we're all doing one together, that'll probably be quite helpful. You'll just have to keep thinking of other ideas, Andrew. Oh. There. You can make, you can tinfoil anything really, if you want. You could tinfoil, you could go crazy and start just tinfoiling everything in your room. Be careful. Picture frames, books. That kind of scale seems to work quite nicely. They'd probably be okay in your bathroom. tinfoil tends to get a little bit flaky after a while, so you probably want to put some acrylic varnish on it, just to seal it, which might be quite nice. The most brilliant thing I found out about this stuff was the way it picks up colour. You can't see it on the screen as clearly, but you can really get some nice effects on it. I'm going to experiment more with it when I've finished doing this, because it might be all my Christmas presents done. You know what I mean? And of course, they could just be simply Christmas cards, very festive, shiny. So I'm just going from the middle out, dead slow. If you go quickly, it'll rip. And then you say something you regret. Feel free to just chat along as we're going along through this.
Talk quietly among yourselves.
Yeah. Oh no.
Okay, I watched you a guy who lined his hat with tinfoil, but then he was into the X-Files, so I don't think it was artistic.
So I've got glue all over the other side of that. I'm going to scrunch it slightly. How are you all doing? Have you got some sticky stuff? Don't worry if you're not onto my thing yet. Oh, I've got a hole in it there. You can't see that, can you? Good.
No.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to take that and that, and I'm just going to. Is that about right? No, it's not. Anyway, I'm going to put that onto there, and then I'm going to put it flat down. So it's like that. Basically, I'm just squishing it on. Yeah. Excuse me while I cut the edges a little bit. Scissors. So.
Do you put the card on the glue side?
What's that?
Do you put the card on the glue side of the foil?
Oh yeah, this is the glue. And that's the card. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Now I've cut mine a little bit big, so I'm just going to trim it. Doesn't matter if you're not bothered about what's on the other side. Quite satisfying snipping it with scissors, tinfoil. So you've got that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub it down fairly gently. You usually go from the middle to the corners to avoid bubbles, but it doesn't seem to matter with this. And then fold those out like that. Go around all the sides. Fold it up a bit. Now you'll spend much longer on this than I will, so. And you know what's good as well? Cardboard. It looks great. You know, with the one-sided cardboard, you can get all sorts of beautiful effects. It sort of looks almost industrial if you mix it with other things. I saw a few pictures on the internet with it. I think it was a box done that way. It looked a bit twee for me, but if you just use that style, you can go for it. Right, so I've basically got something that just looks like tinfoil, and then there's the back of it, sort of glued in. Now, somewhere underneath here is the stem, and I'm just using my thumb, or my finger, that's my finger, isn't it, to find out, where is that? It's up here. Ah, there we go. And there's that disc that I put in up there. There it is. So, now what I'm going to do, really gently, is get my non-permanent marker, non-permanent, otherwise you're stuffed. I'm going to just sort of trace or push in. You want a felt because it's soft and it's just a little bit more gentle than your fingers, and it pushes in. So you go around either side of all these things. It goes right there. You can see it taking shape like that. And this, it's just quite a nice contemplative process, really. You just have to be in a certain, right, I'm just going to do this, da-di-da-di-da, and you just carry on doing it, basically. Following along. You can just feel where they are, and if you can't feel where they are, just use your finger, because your finger can tell more than a pen, obviously. So, yeah, I can tell that that's there, and that that's there. Yeah. And you do want to push it down a little bit with your finger. You might get a bit of a messy finger, but it's non-permanent, so you can see all this stuff happening. And I might go around that. You don't have to have a sun and leaves. It just seemed like a nice idea to go out for a walk, and it's free. Some nice leaves about at the moment. So there's one up here. Sometimes you get a bit lost, like, oh, where did that bit go? But don't worry about that. Just keep using your pen and feeling for where it was. I've just thought it might be quite a nice idea to photograph it before you put tin foil down, and then you'll know where things start and where they finish.
Yeah, that's kind of something I always do. But having what you say is, represent the sun. I've done paintings in the past, and sometimes I look at a painting I've done and I think, yeah, that's the sun. And sometimes, actually, it's nighttime. I think that's the moon.
The moon,
and
yeah.
the painting itself is quite ambiguous. It could go one way or the other.
Yeah. I think particularly if it's low in the sky or atmospheric, and if it's got this silveriness to it, it could be either, a weak sun or, a silvery moon, couldn't it? So as I'm going over this, I can see it appearing, which is kind of nice, because you don't need to be able to draw a leaf. You can just cheat a bit. I remember doing this at primary school, actually.
It's like brass rubbing or coin rubbing that we used to do. It's like brass rubbing or coin rubbing that we used to do.
Absolutely. I used to love doing that. In fact, you could go with some tin foil, couldn't you, round York Minster? See how far you got.
Get arrested. Well, you could put, instead of the, you could put a coin there, something that meant something to you. A coin or a medal or...
Yeah.
Definitely. Something you could claim.
You can put lace in it. That works. All sorts of cutouts layered on top of each other. As long as I think the limit is, for me anyway, it's sort of like 2 or 3 mil. If you do it much thicker than that on a flat surface, you're pushing it a bit, because it might just, rip at that point. So make sure you crush the tin foil. I think that's a bit of a crucial thing.
So if you get hold of a centime or a few kopecks, maybe.
Yeah. You want a silver sixpence, actually, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I had a few of those, and in the various moves I've had since, they've all disappeared, but I'm sure I could get some.
Yeah. So I'm just taking my time doing this, and if you've got half an hour spare, and then you can always go back and repaint it. That's the lovely thing about acrylics, and you can cut it up and collage it with other things. From Fred Aldous, you can get like a crafts place in Manchester.
Yes, I've been there many times.
You can get different, if you get really into it, you can get different levels of foil, different grades, different colours, mainly coppers. Copper's very nice, but then you would have to use metal objects rather than soft organic ones. Now, you can't really see that much of what's going on, but I'm hoping you can sense the effect whilst you're working.
Aldous is where I was until lockdown, buying my rug wool, because I've been working on a rug for the last, I don't know, 6 years. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. Kind of a long-term project. Yeah.
My dad used to make rugs with knotted fabric that he found. Just, you make a strip and just tie it up in a little rag rug.
Well, this is from, wool sort of cut to a certain length with a latch hook, which is something I learned from my mum. And I've been, like I say, I'm 2/3 of the way through this rug. It's kind of the project is ongoing. I've been making it up as I go along. And when I finally finish it, it's going to be way too good to put on the floor.
That's the trouble, isn't it?
So I'm going to hang it up somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on the wall like a tapestry, I think.
Yeah. I think that's great.
But yeah, I love...
You don't want to put your muddy boots all over it. No.
I love the whole area. I love the northern quarter.
I know. Won't it be nice when we can get back to it?
Yeah, well, what are we now? Level 2? Oh,
I think so. I'm all confused.
You're not the only one. You're in good company.
Yeah. I just try and be careful. Keep away. So basically I've gone over most of that, and you can, when you rub it off again, the pen, you go, oh, I've lost all the definition, but don't worry about that, because that's going to come back when you get those lovely acrylics on it. I think I made a vague attempt at a kind of ground there. How are you getting on? Is anyone doing it with me as we're going along? Yeah. Oh, I've got a thumbs up from Jenny. She's posh, she knows how to use this.
For me, but I need to...
Reactions?
I need to pay a visit, so don't start the acrylics till I get back. I won't be long.
Okay, there. I'll put a reaction. Right, so... Right, I've gone over all of that. It didn't take too long. You can leave some of the pen on because it's just fine where it is. Let's see what you've been doing. Ah, yeah. Oh, I can see the edge of it. Gosh, that's a massive leaf. Oh, and you've done the fern. Oh, yeah, it's coming out nicely. Yeah. Groovy. I like it, Chloe. I like it, Catherine. How are you doing, Sonia? Nice. Yeah. There's loads of beautiful leaves about now, aren't there? I mean, some of them that I've used, they've had a stem that's been about that thick, and that's been okay. Some of them that I've tried, the edges have been so thin that hasn't really made much of a difference. The ones that This one worked, but it was on a funny piece of paper. I can't remember. So I'm going to let you carry on doing that. I think, oh yeah, I'm going to show you what it's like with cardboard as well. Because we seem to be having enough time. I was quite worried that we wouldn't have enough time to do all this, but we have got ages. Okay. This can create a really nice, strange, weird effect for book covers or anything. You could actually, if you were careful, scalpel out an outline of anything you liked. It could be skyscrapers. It could be a nice roof for one of your models. Yeah, and you can make, and of course with this you can create folds that are like this or curves. So, you know, you can create a Manhattan skyline on your mantelpiece if you want.
Yeah, why not?
So I'm going to show you this technique as well, because looking at the time, we're doing absolutely brilliantly for it. So don't want to rush ahead of myself.
Well, I for one don't care if it runs over. I don't know about anybody else.
I don't. As long as I get my lunch, I'm all right. So what I'm going to do with this is, whilst you're doing that, if you're okay doing that, you all look quite busy. So Ping, I can't see you. I don't know if you're in. It's hard to know, isn't it? Is Jenny there? It's hard to tell. Oh well. Well, if they're not, oh, your microphone. Hiya. Is So Ping coming along? No? I don't think she can hear me. Can you hear me, Sophie?
Oh, me? I'm here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know you were talking to me.
Came back on and then, yeah, I just wondered if So Ping or
She's
Jenny.
here. Jenny just gave us a thumbs up, so we know Jenny's
She's
there.
all right. Right, that's brilliant. I just I can't tell sometimes, but yeah, she's just got a microphone off. That's fine. Has So not been able to get on?
I don't know. Not sure.
Well, we've got it's recording, isn't it?
Yes.
So
we can always share that.
you can always have a look at it if she's, keen. Make sure you get this technique. Thanks, Sophie. This technique using texture, you're probably better not using a glue stick. I chose glue sticks because they're easy to post rather than a load of stuff, and they're fine for flat things. But if you are using it, getting those edges, want all those edges in. Just makes it easy and it stays where it is instead of escaping. So what we do is we do our crunchy technique again. Like that. Yeah, flatten it out. And then try and remember, it doesn't make that much difference, but it makes a difference to the glow of the paint. The paint really glows if you use the right side rather than the dull side. Stick it on, whack it on, like that. Then we want to, in fact, I'll scrunch it a bit more because there's a few more bits in it. There we go. And then trim it off. And of course you can decorate boxes like this. Stick some cardboard on the top cover. And this is quite a nice effect. I cheated and saw this one on Google. Oh, hang on, I haven't painted over this. Glue the back of it. Like a sensible person.
I used to do that for Christmas, Yule, or
Yeah.
Samhain, and I, for my wife, I would make a box and decorate it and put individual tiny little presents wrapped in
Yeah.
tissue paper, and that was the one thing I would leave
Oh,
for her to find.
yeah, that sounds really nice. I remember doing that kind of thing for Easter with bits of cut-up paper. And we've got the time now, haven't we, to do this sort of thing? You know, we're not all in a mad.
We have the time, but we don't have contact with the people who we would like to spend the time with. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I guess it is. It's always this. I used to think that when I was working, though, slightly. You know, sometimes you've got the cash, but you've not got the time to spend with your mates. You're working all over the place. So I'll show you this technique. It's quite funny holding it like this. I think next time I'll have to get something a bit more proper. We're going to be doing lantern making as well. I can't remember exactly when. I'll get some ideas ready for that.
I like lanterns.
Yeah, I was wondering whether to make it out of withies and tissue or to actually use really good tracing paper and cut out effects. But we'll see.
Could do both.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, show both techniques and then see what people go with.
Because in this day and age, you know, we're working with, okay, everyone has candles, but we're working with now, you know, low voltage LED lights that really don't give out any heat. So we can, you know, basically we can work with what we like.
Yeah.
Without fear of burning the house down.
No, it's a shame, isn't it? I used to like it when there were actual real candles there. But they did used to burn too brightly.
Is it the same sort of lanterns as they have at the Illuminate Festival?
Yeah, mostly Illuminate. Yeah, I did. There might be
the Mosley one. Pardon?
There will be a bit. They could be a bit like the cotton ones. Do you remember the cotton ones that were boingy?
No, we've done the Oldham one a couple of times.
Oh, what were they like?
It was bamboo.
Yeah.
And like tissue paper.
Yeah. Well, that's one way of doing it. We've got 3 sessions, so we could get it dry and do that. But I was thinking of an alternative approach is to use really thick tracing paper, and you get a very soft, diffuse light through that.
Yeah.
And then you can layer up transparent-ish tissue colours on top of that. And the really good thing about the tissue, that paper is it's kind of waxy, and you can stab a hole in through it and it won't go all over the place. It's really nice. I like making lanterns. It's great fun. What kind of lantern did you make them on a stick or yeah?
Would you like me to get one of them?
Oh yeah, let's have a look while we're doing all this.
You talk about the tracing paper and that it works in so many scenarios. I remember one New Year's Eve stepping outside and seeing these glowing lights in the sky, and only discovering afterwards that they were actually these Chinese lanterns that were set aloft, and they were just floating with the prevailing winds. And they were probably a hazard to navigation. I don't think the airline pilots really liked them very much, but it was beautiful to behold. Yeah,
they're almost, yeah, They're almost like little ghosts, aren't they, or something? They seem to have a real presence somehow.
I guess we kind of, I don't know, talking to the spirits. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's a little bit of a messy approach that I'm doing here, but you'll have a bit more time than me. Not quite as I thought. Have you all done the... Oh, she's off. Let's have a look. Oh, that's gorgeous.
I'm here.
I've
I'm
done
here.
a few workshops.
I'm missing something.
Hey, that is really nice.
This was our first one.
Oh,
And the theme was stars and moons,
Yeah,
hence the stars and moons.
beautiful. Yeah, that
is
layering
outstanding.
really helps.
And we've got a little flap.
Yeah,
You put your hand in for the
Yeah.
light.
fabulous. And is it held from above?
It's a little,
Yeah,
you see, it's a little wire hook.
yeah,
And we had a stick on the night,
yeah.
so we held them on the sticks.
That's
Had I known, my little girl was only 3 or 4 at the time. Had I known, would have made a smaller one. So she couldn't pick it up.
that didn't engulf her.
Yeah. And last year's, we put hearts and things on last year's, and it's a different shape.
Mm. I think I'm wondering about the theme.
With
It
our,
might be a
with
rainbow
our
theme.
Willow, I did her initials. You can't really tell, but we knew. So we've got an S.
Yes, there. I love that shape. There's something really great about the shapes the Withies make
Yeah.
that turn people into artists, really, because they just...
I think the mums got a bit competitive.
Did you?
All the
Oh, dear.
mums did, I think.
Competitive lantern making.
Yeah.
My child has the best lantern.
that just sounds so American. I'm sorry.
All you can eat. Right. Thanks for showing us that. Oh, look at all your boxes, Craftwell, New York. I'm having a good nosy at these.
Oh, it's a mess in here. I don't want to look in here.
I do. It's full of all sorts of goodies.
I got inspired a bit yesterday to do a bit of tidying up.
Good. That's what you need. Either that or just...
We'll want to use it in half term, won't we, when we can't go anywhere else?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
When's half term now? It's not...
23rd hours.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I've just made something that has got felt tip and lines on it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the acrylic on this one to show you, here, I've made a mess. To show you, we'll do a few greens. I shouldn't really do this over this expensive computer, should I? Never mind. Now, some people like to use brushes. I just kind of like to blob it on. And then you can, if you've got a reasonably heated house, this doesn't take ages to dry. I was in my kitchen waiting for this to dry for about an hour the other night, and then thought, tell you what, it's a bit nippy, I'll put the heating on. So I'm making a bit of a mess here. Just spread it on, enjoy it.
I knew it was cold when the other morning I realised my heating kicked in when I knew my thermostat was turned down to about 15. Yeah.
Yeah, 15's
It's cold.
pushing it, isn't it? I think 16 is the okay temperature for primary school, or at least it used to be when
Really?
I taught. Yeah, there was a big phase for have the windows open.
I've woke up in the
It's
morning
cold.
sometimes and it's been like less than 5 degrees and I've like had my head out of my doing going and see my breath missing and thinking,
I know what you mean.
do I really want to get out of bed right now?
I remember it. icicles on the inside of the bedroom. Right, so what I'm using now is just a slightly darker green, and I'm going to just blend one to another. It is so easy, and it's really nice, and you only really make a mess of one finger. And then,
Of course, it's the right weather for this, feeling, because if it's cold, it doesn't dry too quickly.
no. You see how this nice effect is happening here, gradually. Because it's shiny, you can't quite tell. But sometimes you get kind of this rounded effect, which means that you've got wet paint on your finger. So get rid of it a bit somewhere else. As it dries, it will blend. It's just getting it to that blending state. That's a little bit too wet at the moment. So, but you can see it's picking up. And if you just go across like that, you pick up with the dark paint, the highlighted top parts. So that happens like that. Of course, you can leave the silver on the back if you want it to be, you want it to look like there's a silver sky. So just brush across, and then you get all sorts of interesting kind of woodlandy effects. And what you could do is you could layer different effects on top of each other. Let's see what it looks like with a different colour as well. I'm going to try for a pale blue. Anyway, you've got a huge selection to choose from, I think. Now I'm going to choose an area there and mix it in a little bit, and then go across. And as it dries, it will highlight the very tops of things. You can get your own strange, arty, natural thing. So you get something, so you get all sorts of strange looking transparencies there. Bit too silver on the top for my liking. If it's too silver, just dull it down with a colour. One nice thing that people tend to do with these sorts of things, to finish them off, they sort of put dark areas around each corner, and that works quite nicely. Wasting paint here, never mind. You might not want to use that finger, use that one. Something different. So we get this nice effect going on. I wonder if we could use a bit of tin in our lanterns. That'd be quite nice. Get some reflections going on. Don't quite know how. I'll have to have a good think. So that way you see it's beginning to look a little bit more finished off if you add pieces here and there. I'll add a bit there because it's gone a bit too thick there anyway. So across like that. You get all sorts of weird and wonderful effects that you wouldn't get on a flat piece of paper. You'd just get strange smudges. So you can see you can get all arty farty with it. A great big one of those would look quite nice over your mirror. Actually, it looked quite, it'd be nice with warmer colours, I think.
I don't know. Looking at that now, it looks like I'm in a forest somewhere in the Far East.
Yeah, it does look.
You do a stand of bamboo.
Yeah, there you go. Walk through that. So yeah, I mean, create your own massive artwork. It wouldn't look that out of place on here, would it?
Certainly wouldn't look out of place on my wall.
Hey?
I said it certainly wouldn't look out of place on my wall.
No, it wouldn't. The great thing is you don't have to actually have any artistic talent to do it. It just looks great. I love it. And you get your fingers messy into the bag.
Well, you remember the guys that hold the hand on the cave wall and spat red ochre and left the hand print?
Yeah.
They had no talent, but
No.
what they left behind has survived for thousands of years.
Tells you something, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
They had technique, and they wanted to say, I was here.
Yeah.
This is me, this is my hand, this is my individual hand. And even though the technique is the same for lots of them, you know, that is one hand that lived so far back in time. It'd be great to have a time machine, wouldn't it? What are they thinking? Bet they have messy mouths though, all that ochre. Yuck.
Yeah, and all the mammoth they were eating.
Lovely. A few choice burps there. But I really do think this technique sort of lends itself to a lot of little lovely projects, really. And it never seems to look that bad, even if you really try and mess it up. It doesn't get messed up. I'll put the wrong top on. Oh, there we go. That's it. Keep your tops on. I'm going to try it with the real thing now. So now we've had a go at just a slightly weird and wonderful thing. I mean, that would look really nice. You know, I mean, that's nice enough, that's lovely. But you could do your own and put their name on it. Christmas or whatever celebration. You're a nice person, I'm giving you this. So to get this kind of effect, it was similar colours, yeah? Shining too much. So kind of yellowy, greeny, bluey, purpley going sort of across. So I used the stem of the fern as an idea for where the shadow would go, rather than making it really straight and flat. You can use what you've got naturally, you know, so you could have glows coming from just around here and then darknesses around where all the foliage is, if you wanted to. This other one that I didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to. I took too much of, I'm showing you this because it didn't work, okay? It's because I used a thin foil. And as you can see, it doesn't stick as nicely. You can still get some nice effects, but it just didn't work. If you take too much of it off at the end, it just shines madly and you can't actually see what's going on. So make sure it's basically, you know, most of it's covered in foil, otherwise you will get this strange shine, unless you want a really strange shine, in which case, carry on. But I found that it was nice to just say, well, I want it to shine in just that one place there where the moon or the sun or whatever it is, the comet that's hurtling towards us is. So you know, reserve taking all the paint off, like I did there, for just select things. Like when I did this one, for example, again using the tinfoil that isn't that good, unfortunately. I made that part and these parts clear of, paint and stuff, and this basically clear too. And that way you don't get huge areas of shine back, but you're just having specific areas free of paint. And of course, what you can do if you go, I don't like that, you just add some more, once it's dried off. Add some more, and because it's acrylic, as long as you're not, let's try it out, as long as you're not really rough with it, I bet you could get rid of some of it as well. Yeah, it's coming off. So you could just start again. It'll take you a while to get rid of it, but you can alter it, is what I'm saying. You can alter the effect. Well, it's so cheap, you might as well just start again. I think it will probably cost about 10p to make something like that. This is, what is it now? This is 30 metres. I'm not telling you where it's from, I'm not advertising that lot. 30 metres of foil for, I think it was £3.20. So, you can do it for very little money, and it applies to three-dimensional things as well. Right. So you might have got to the stage where you've just gone over it with your pen. This is your fern one, yeah. And you'll be thinking about where to put the colour. I've decided to leave the disc fairly clear and round there not as dark. You see what I mean? And then, so if that's shining there, then it'll be darkest, possibly down there, speaking simplistically.
So looking at you now, looking at that, would you see that? I would see that actually as a full moon shining down.
Yeah, I think it looks like a full moon. And the further down in the sky you do it, the more it looks like autumn as well. Because yes, you tend to have, and if you actually put a horizon in it, then you've got context. I can't tell that that's the horizon because I haven't painted it yet. So the further
I think
down,
it does best without.
Eh?
I think it does best without, actually.
Without what?
Looking up. You like. I've been there. I've lay on my back and looked up at the full moon through the branches, and not really consciously know what time of year it is, apart from the fact it's either hot or cold.
Well, yeah. I don't know if it does, because it never changes, does it? It's always got the same face to you, and the moon. So you never see it particularly change, except go higher or lower.
It was like this morning. I woke up this morning. I stepped out 6 a.m. I looked up. I saw the stars. I saw Venus. I saw the crescent moon. I saw a constellation I recognised, Orion, and I thought, yeah, signs and portents. This is going to be a good day.
Good. Yeah, and I suppose what you could do with the moon as well is you could put it into its quarters or something. You could add a shadow on one side to show that it was waxing or waning. That might.
But still see the outline.
Hey? Yeah, but still see the outline.
Yeah,
but then,
I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, and sometimes they have, are they called auroras? There's a sort of little bluish tinge around the edge of it, don't they?
The same thing you get with an eclipse, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, you could do an eclipse. That'd be good. A silver.
That would kind of be in your face, though, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's not the kind of thing you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to relax and meditate this. It's kind of thing. Oh, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, it would be a bit more blinding, should we say? But you could do a small one or something. So for this one, we've got lots of paints to choose from, haven't we? In that select, did you get your acrylics?
I did, yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to use the same technique. As long as your hands are fairly dry, this shouldn't matter to the colours. I might make it look really obvious by doing it some standout colours so you can tell. So I'm going to do a bit of that. Oh, what other colour shall I use? What have I got here? Oh, I'm going to use this weird burgundy. We don't have to be natural about it. On the other side of that leaf, a bit of that there. And before I get my sleeves all messed up, roll your sleeves up. How's it going, Catherine? You look really intense.
I'm experimenting.
Excellent. I can see the reflection in the mirror. I can see what you're doing. Good. I mean, that's what we should be doing, is experimenting, really, isn't it?
Well, we'll see.
We will. Well, we don't have to see. You're in charge. Do as if you want. So what I'm doing is the same sort of thing. And you can use tissue to rub it off. You see, it looks like a disaster, but maybe it is a disaster. But I don't think it is. I think this might. Yeah, I've got some nice burnt leaves there. Oh, I went round Stamford Park the other day and it was gorgeous. I don't know if any of you have been there recently, but
I've not been there for ages.
Same. I don't think I've been around the boating lake or anywhere like that since I was, not telling you, a lot younger.
I've been around to Park. I've been around to Chisholm's Park and Gorsall Country Park. I've not been to Stamford for at least 3 or 4 years.
Well, I always remember it as being a bit depressing, a bit run down. But there are lovely areas around there where you can walk. I couldn't find any decent leaves though, so I was most gutted. Well, once you start doing this, you start looking for leaves everywhere, like some sort of mad person.
But I've got a bad memory of Stamford Park. Well, 2 actually. One is pushing my young son on a swing and idiot parents walking straight in front and getting kicked in the head. And another is sheltering in the pirate ship.
Yes.
With the local youth and teenagers. Looking out at the pouring rain while my son danced around in the monsoon, and a girl turned to me and said, "Do you come here often?" I said,
"You couldn't make it up, could you?"
No, you couldn't make it up. I said,
"Are we supposed to be rubbing the paint off?"
Yes, after you've rubbed it right in to all the little bits. If you don't rub it right into the...
I've got this so far.
I like that. That's cool.
Oh, put it up close. Oh, that's gorgeous. And look at those finger strokes. That looks great. Are you happy with it?
Yes. And I only did a small... I've done the big one. But I haven't painted yet. I think I've missed some of... I think either the glue's dried or I've not put enough on. It's not sticking quite as I'd like.
I'll tell you what, Kelly, that would serve as a stained glass window in any place of worship that I can.
Well, I just thought...
I love that. That's beautiful.
The bit that I put off, I just got a scrap piece of card, one of the leaves, but I thought it might be nice as a topper on a card.
Yeah. I think it looks beautiful. The colour looks really nice, doesn't it? I
haven't rubbed anything off yet.
Right. Let it dry a bit and test a little bit of it to see if... I mean, you might not want to rub any of it off at all, but I'd let it go tacky before you start to
rubbing.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll just smear all off. Yeah. What I'm doing is using the action of moving it around
Yeah.
to dry it off quicker.
Well, I did that on the blue,
Yeah,
and on the actual leaf, I got a scrunched up tissue
yeah,
to make the pattern.
that's lovely. I want to see it really close up. Put it really close in. It's fantastic.
That is indeed.
That's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
I think you should you're on a roll now. You should do some more.
To do some more.
Yeah.
So when tea's not made tonight, I'll say, no, but look at all my tinfoil leaves.
They will
I don't
understand.
need any encouragement to stay in here all day.
I mean, you can use a dry brush as well to create different effects, and it makes quite nice. We can't tell, but it makes quite nice marks just generally in the tin. But it can take out some of the heavy bits.
Yeah.
You know, when it's not drying and you need an even bit going on. And then, as you say, get a bit of tissue. And I find it when you're joining two colours together as well. Then that might then obviously turn it round. Work from the light to the dark and then get another piece. Don't be stingy. You think? Here. I mean, look it up on Google. Tinfoil crafts. You'll see some beautiful ones about making flowers, three-dimensional flowers out of tinfoil, which look stunning but would have taken far longer because they're made of wire and foil and stuff. Some other shellac looks really nice with it if you've got any craft shellac, you know.
I haven't.
Beetlejuice.
Things I haven't got.
Well, anyway, what else is really nice with it that I've seen? What's it called? Shoe polish. Shoe polish of all different colours. It has that nice sheen to it. But really, what you've done is beautiful. So you should just carry on doing your own thing. You're obviously dead talented.
Thank you. I'm
It's
not.
absolutely good.
I agree.
I was just playing.
That was beautiful.
That's what it's supposed to be, isn't it? That's exactly what it's supposed to be. I mean, maybe that's what we're here for, to play.
Absolutely. I don't think we play enough, do we?
No. No, we certainly don't. So if you use a tissue, you get most of the stuff off it. And these colours are well bright and it's quite hard for me to do it this way around.
So I keep pressing to see if the outline shows a bit more, but it's not quite. I think I've not put enough glue on.
It sounds like it's making a rolling noise.
Yeah, it is. I think it's just not sticking in between the fern and the other leaves. Because the outside has, and some of the smaller ones have.
It's probably this.
On the next one, I'll try it with PVA and see if I make a better job.
Use PVA. This does work, but you've just got to...
I think I'm either too slow and it's dried, or I've not put enough on.
I did the same with this one. See there?
Yeah.
It didn't... That's a lumpy bit. And because it didn't... I'm going to rip it up now. It didn't join because that was always sticking up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. So that bit never quite worked. So it is really good to crunch it up and flatten it. And if you're using PVA, what I do, you probably know this, I'm just sorry if I'm, being dead obvious. Put it down the opposite way round, sit on it or something, put some books on it for 10 minutes. And then that bit will push in. Another thing that you can do with these little suckers. Can't tell with this one, this has gone a bit limp. But when you put it down and it's lifting up a little bit, just squash it.
Yeah.
Just break the surface of it so that the pith or whatever it is always about that thick. Anything over, yeah. One of the things that also stops it sticking apart, I used PVA with this, but I think it was a bit watery and I didn't press it. I just left it to dry off instead of putting a weight on it. And also I didn't crunch it enough, because if you crunch it, those bits will go round the stem. You know, do you get what I mean?
I didn't crunch it enough either.
Possibly. Keep crunching. It's good.
Keep crunching.
Aye.
I didn't want to make an hole in it.
If you make a hole in it, you can always put another piece over the top of it, but you might as well just get another bit, I think. But it's up to you, isn't it? But yeah, it's a pain when that happens.
There's one thing I may suggest. I used to, when I was mounting photographs, there was this frame mount stuff, and there were two types. There was the permanent and the slightly tacky. I was thinking the slightly tacky. The thing is, that stuff, it will stick, and it will stick something really well, but you have to be really confident that you can, you know, put something down.
Whack it there and that's it.
In about a minute's time, it's stuck.
Yeah.
You spray it on, you put something down, and you know, you work really fast, and then it's down and it's stuck, but it is really, really stuck.
Yeah, I prefer to use spray mount when I'm outside.
Yeah.
It leaves a film on everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that from experience, and the fumes really drive my mum bad. You know, she would say, "What are you doing? What are you using that stuff for again?"
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say something. I forgot what it was now. Yeah, never mind. I've forgotten.
Don't just hate it when that happens.
I do. Well, never mind.
It'll come back. It always does.
I forgot what it was. Yeah, just get rid of it from areas where you don't want. Oh, yeah, that was it. Kelly, I think sometimes if the glue is slightly wet, when you start to use your pen, you know, if you've got it a bit wet still, then it will move a little bit and let you do those lines with your soft felt. Do you get what I mean? Just a bit. So what you'd probably do is just try it. And yeah, and that would be a way also. If you went over it a bit, it'd be a way of getting that to stick before
it just
you
doesn't
put pressure on it.
at all.
Yeah, it's just because there's not enough glue. It's
There's
dried
a gap in the middle.
Never mind. But if you glue it, use the PVA, maybe 3/4 PVA, one, you know, not full PVA. You don't
I'll
need
cut these out and just have them as little shapes, the ones that have worked.
Yeah. And then when you glue it, just push in there and all along the big bits, so they won't get. So they'll be glued basically by the time, so that they're not going to come up. That's what I meant to say. Now I've ruined it. Never mind. Actually, it looks quite interesting, doesn't it? Like that now. I might use a felt tip pen to go over these parts. I mean, you don't have to use. You don't have to use paint. And then you can just rub it off with a bit of water if you don't like that.
I think one thing I've learned is
a certain tackiness. If it goes over that tackiness stage, you're just fighting a losing battle, and you might as well just start again.
Yeah. The one thing I've learned is that your card, your natural materials, can expand and contract.
Yeah.
The foil will not.
No.
In place. And then
That's the principle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how the mistakes are made. Yeah, which is why you have to crunch it, and why you should use strong stuff, and why when there's any big divots like that down there, you should try and push your pen into it before it dries out fully. And it will actually stretch a little bit, tin foil. Like that's actually
not very much. I
Yeah.
find if I stick a pin in
a bit.
and relieve the pressure, that sometimes helps.
Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. Pin, that might help, especially if you've got an air bubble caught in it.
Yeah.
That would help. Excellent idea. There we go. So, and never dip your paint into your tea. That's another thing.
Or never drink your paintbrush holder.
Oh no.
Your cup of tea.
They all end up looking about the same colour though, don't they? So.
Yeah.
You have never been a true artist unless you've done that.
No, you've got to eat paint like good old Van Gogh to be properly serious. Right, so there's another technique which is after it's dry. Now, here we go. After it's dry, nearly dry, you go over it with something wet and you get all sorts of other strange effects. You can't really tell on that screen. It's a bit muddy. There. Oh, that's coming out quite nicely. So yeah, just tissue. You don't need cotton wool or anything like that. And then you get a kind of, the surface is softer. If you use that kind of approach, that's been done with much drier paint, and that has been done with softer paint with tissue. So you get different sort of effects. That's quite harsh. Yeah. So there's those two things as well. Yeah. And I suppose afterwards you could let it dry and then rub something else over it.
And then
This
frame
is
it.
becoming like a brass rubbing now. I think the tin foil can only take so much and then it will give in a bit. So still try to be quite careful. There we are. So there we get a kind of, get all sorts of weird effects, don't you? I mean, oh, that's lovely. Bit red. I think it should be
I
brown.
like it, actually.
So, I'm just going to review what we've done so far because we're sort of coming to the end of it. So we used, let's use this nice one. So what we did was we put a leaf on a piece of card that we'd previously glued, yeah? And we also cut out a disc, some of us, and put it on there. Then we scrunched up this stuff to fit using the shiny side, not to be glued, don't glue the shiny side, glue this side. One of the things we found out is that, yeah, we do need plenty of glue on it, and possibly a liquid glue would be better, yeah, than using a Pritt stick. Be careful with the Pritt stick because you don't want to rip it. Then, after we put the foil over the leaf, we turned it over like that, glued the sides. Then we sat on it or pushed it all in so that we could see all the parts, and we just used finger pressure for that, didn't we? And then when we'd used the finger pressure for that, providing that it was a sort of tacky stage, we used a felt pen and went over all the lines. What are they called? The lines of a leaf?
Veins.
Veins, yeah, quite human. Veins and things like that. And then, once we'd done that, we let it dry. And then we used acrylic paints. You can use oil paints, you can use any paints. It would be, this gives the effect of a kind of tin enamel, but it's actually really cheap paint. But you could try tin enamel. You could try, tell you what would be really quite nice, which I want to do, is use nail varnish. That might look really shiny in some areas, might be quite fun. You could use shellac, all sorts of enamels. Try watercolour, whatever you've got. Emulsion, black and silver look really good. If you've got a black matte emulsion, it might look really interesting having a matte and silvery sort of side to it. Oh no, you've got some stuff on that. We talked about changing it from just a painting to, tell you what, let's make a nice light cover. It looks quite nice as a light cover. Of course, we can extend the scale to any scale, providing we've got the card or a loo roll big enough or long enough. What else did we talk about? We talked about covering books and boxes and maybe using it as part of a model making sort of process with Andrew. And what else did we say? Anyone remember?
It'd be good to make something as a present.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great cheap present, and yeah. And
Only cheap in
I'm
monetary
definitely
terms.
to do a bit more. I'm definitely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do lots of long leaves in a big long line, and I've got a place under my fireplace that's just got an empty bit, and I'm going to put some sort of waves of leaves going along in a line, and I think that'll look quite nice. You know, rather than just stuck on a wall, you know, actually part of some piece of furniture. So if I do that, I'll send you a photo if I get round to it. I've got loads of spare time. I probably will.
You and all of us, I think, right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not doing anything this afternoon, so I think I'm going to get myself some chocolate, and then I'm going to clean my hands. Let's have a look at everybody's hands. How filthy are they? Andrew's aren't.
Mine are clean. Now,
Disgracefully
I
filthy.
just like that.
there's a few of white glue under the fingernails, but apart from that,
Well, it's an excuse for having dirty fingernails, which I always have. Anyway. Are there any questions before we sort of say ta-ra? And we can carry on here if we like, for as long as you like.
no questions, just one statement. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's my pleasure. It was fun. I was a bit nervous about doing it, but
Oh no, it's been brilliant.
yeah. It's good. Oh, good. I tried to have here's one I made earlier, but I had no sticky back plastic, so I think I ruined it. Next time it'll be.
No, Valerie Singleton, you are not. Thankfully.
Oh, well, that's been great. It's nice to meet you all. Catherine, I keep seeing you on Zoom. But you are a real human being. Right?
Yes, I am. But thanks very much. I'm enjoying it. I'm being a bit too controlled. I need to let go.
You can do what you want. It's your life. But yeah, be a bit controlled if you want.
No, I want to be a bit more free, really.
Use a bigger brush, maybe.
Bigger brush.
Just bear in mind, everybody, you know, we are all real people here, and at some point, you know, we might actually meet face to face without people dying.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to happen, isn't it? Whether it's 6 months or a year, it's nice. You know where we live now anyway. I don't know where you are, so you can come and get me. But it'd be great. I'm looking forward to doing the lanterns as well. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
any
that one.
thoughts? And Kelly, your lantern looks fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, got a lot to live up to. But we've got 3 sessions, so we'll have to have a good think about how to make it personal as well, because you know you had some stuff about the S and
I've got 3 initials in it.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
I mean, I don't know what, you know, all of you guys are, you know, with lanterns and that, what festival you personally want to celebrate. But I think, you know, if we, you know, whatever we do, if we all come together and just make lanterns and celebrate, basically, humanity.
Yeah, and the gathering of the light.
The dark world.
Yes.
Yes, Catherine.
If we do meet, we'd have to bring a cardboard frame round with us, wouldn't we?
Oh,
we've
yeah.
never seen each other's faces or each other's heads in a box.
Yeah. Under this, I have just 8 octopus legs. You can't see.
I celebrate Diwali.
Diwali? Yeah, the Festival of Light. Diwali, said Sonia.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a festival of light, so that would fit in perfectly.
Yeah, I think because it's around November-ish, it sort of does for a lot, doesn't it, really?
And at the end of October, of course, for the pagans amongst us, we got Samhain.
We got who?
And, sorry, Samhain.
Oh, I don't know.
It's the pagan festival. It's look it up. You'll find out all about it. And of course, there's obviously the Halloween, which kind of coincides
somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
All
of these things kind of coincide, like the way that Christmas and Yuletide coincide for whatever reasons. I don't know.
The Festival of Light, Sonia. It's just a festival of light with different gods, is it?
Yeah, it's to celebrate. I don't really know that much about Hinduism. I'm a bad Hindu, but it's from what my mum told me, it's to celebrate a god coming home. I think back, like one of the stories is that one or two of the gods, can't remember which, they were coming home, and to celebrate that they were coming home, they did like lit lanterns, not lanterns, candles, and it's like a big celebration. It's kind of like our version of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like how big it is.
Yeah. It's a
sorry, I don't know that much about it.
It just seems really colourful and positive to me. And that's Indian stuff.
I've worked with guys.
Colour everywhere.
I've worked with guys who have followed the Hindu tradition, and the Festival of the Lights has, to me, it seems so inclusive.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on this, but yeah, it just seems so inclusive. It was just a celebration, really.
It's like
anyone can join in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very chill.
Welcome. It's lovely, and light is light, isn't it? It's an element. Which is, different.
Yeah.
To...
It's just to like celebrate prosperity, and for me, because I'm part of the region of India that's Gujarat, so I'm Gujarati, and the day after Diwali, it's the Gujarati New Year, which is a bit weird because we celebrate the normal New Year here, but it's also the Gujarati New Year the day after Diwali, it changes every year depending on the moon and the stars and stuff. So I think this year it was sometime in November or end of October. But I forgot what I was saying now. What was my point?
They're really close together at this. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a point about the New Year, but I forgot now. That's me. That's typical me. I just forget.
Maybe it's bringing light in or something.
Don't worry.
Oh yeah, prosperity.
You're not alone in that.
Yeah. it's like the festival of prosperity and to bring you good luck and, you know, light into your life.
I'll have some of that. Can I be a Hindu?
Yeah. Just come along. Well, you can't come along to the temple because that's probably
No.
closed now
I
because of
know.
COVID. Otherwise, when it's open, you know, they give you out free food and stuff as well. So
I've heard.
bonus.
I've had experience because I've in the course of my work, I've actually worked in Hindu temples, and
Yeah.
I've never been in such a welcoming place.
Yeah.
And yes, they have fed us, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just been like a Sikh temple. It's the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but it's a similar, I don't know, a mindset or a philosophy.
Yeah.
You know, either you turn up just off the street or you're actually there to do a job, but you're welcomed and you're fed, you're welcomed in. And
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
That's what Indian, like, if you go to like an Indian family household, all those Indian aunties, they'll keep feeding you until like you're ready to burst.
And it's rude to refuse, isn't it, really?
Yes, well,
It's not
I've
rude,
said no
but
before, but yeah, it's not great. But yeah, just eat like a little bit,
you
and
get
then
a
if you
sad
don't want that
auntie.
much more, just say no.
I go to ASM a lot, but I haven't
Yeah.
been going recently.
They've changed ownership now, so be careful of the car park because they can charge you if you go into their car park, and if you park there, or even if you just go in just to go back out again without even parking, you have to go inside the store, and at the till you have to enter in your registration number, otherwise you'll get fined because there's CCTV cameras everywhere and they're watching you. So that's made their business go down a bit. I don't know if, you know, people have been complaining to the council or not about that, but they've also been